You've promised yourself to stop after this one drink, but you keep going back to it. The drink, the drugs, picking up your phone to scroll, and no matter how much willpower you use, you cannot stop. I'm Crystal Derksen, co-host of the Robert Jean Experience, here with Robert Jean, your host. He is a neuroplastician, drug rehab consultant, a behavioral engineer. He is also the founder of Skills to Change Institute, where he offers advanced certification in eutactics, one of the fastest, most powerful methods to create lasting change by addressing the root cause of problems rather than just the symptoms. In this episode, we are exploring what really drives addiction, the behavior, and we are going to also reveal keys to lasting change.
Mhm.
Hi, Robert.
This is a big, juicy monster of a topic. This is so big. And I've been working in this arena as far as addiction wise since 2002. In 2002, when I was doing my early days of training, people want to do weight loss. Well, I just figured out the magical pill or the understandings of how addictions work and what drives it and how to change it. So this is big. Now, although we're not talking about food today, but it's all the same.
Right. So I'm curious, what actually got you started on the whole addiction, on understanding addiction and what drives it? What got you started?
Well, because I found, I've been a self-study ever since I was 15, so I started studying about the mind and biblical studies and then NLP, hypnosis, and then definitely later on the years, I discovered a psychosensory process, and it's a tapping modality, and I wanted to help people change, big stuff, and of course, there's a local church, and I'm a stress expert. I know how stress works. I know how to change it. I know the mechanics of it. So, but people wanted weight loss, and I go, well, weight loss is going to be boring. You just eat one hamburger instead of two. I mean, it's that simple. All right. That's what I thought. I mean,
Right.
I wrestled in high school. I pulled weight, so I just, you just don't eat as much, right? But come to find out, it's big inside a weight gain or weight loss, which, by the way, it is an addiction. Food is an addiction, and I'll explain what is an addiction later. And so people wanted that. So I found a book. I don't know how I found a book. It said diets don't work. All right. So diets don't work. And of course, it goes on to explain why diets don't work. And of course, with that thinking, because I know that, I mean, if you think about it logically, we think the weight is the problem. You're too fat, too heavy, whatever. So do you think the weight's a problem? But reality, if weight were just the problem, it was just the weight, one weight loss program, one exercise program, the weight's gone, it's solved forever.
Mhm.
But weight is a symptom.
That's right.
And
Mhm.
so from that model of understanding, I began to explore and understanding how addictions work. And at the time, I didn't know I was learning about addiction. I just trying to figure out how people are putting on weight, gaining weight, and what drives the system. And so basically, my training now is a lot of it's been built working on people trying to lose weight. And so that's how I got started in weight loss. And then I don't know how the story goes. I don't know the timeline exactly. But I did presentations in Ireland at a drug rehab facility. I did several presentations in the UK at drug rehabs. But I spent about 10 years in Hawaii at a drug rehab. And how that came about is there was a person that I was doing sessions on, and her boyfriend at the time, he was either the director or something at this rehab in Hawaii named Jeff. And so she got me to come there, and I did presentations, and they don't let anybody work on anybody in their system. And the nice thing about their system and my thinking system is the same. They say, first of all, addiction is not a disease. It is a choice. You're not genetically disposed to it. And so that's my model too. But I developed that model from working with a lot of people. And so Jeff would allow me to work on the clients that are in the facility. And of course, my goal was to figure out what is addiction, how addiction works. And he'd always have a chaperone with me, another person when I'm working sessions. And so I would ask the same basic questions. Why are you addicted? Are you addicted? You know? So first thing I said, are you addicted? They go, yeah. I go, how do you know? I love drugs. I said, why do you think you're addicted? You know, what is it that makes you think that you're addicted? He says, well, the truth is, I just want to feel better. I want to escape what I'm feeling now. I want a way out. And it's every time, every person, same thing. Life is boring. I want something exciting. I feel so miserable. So I began to understand and discover the model of addiction and then also knowing how to change addiction. So what I do is completely different than any other system out there because one, neurologically, we're changing it within their mind. Secondly, we figure out what it is that drives the addiction, and then we address all the elements and segments that is connected to quote unquote the addiction. But let me just clarify what addiction is first of all.
Sure.
Now, there's consciousness. We consciously think, right? We presume, project, and try to understand logically. Now, there's the other part, which is the limbic operating system, the unconscious system. To the brain, to the brain, the substance or the process that you choose to do is a solution to an internal problem, which means I feel bad, therefore I'm going to clean the house to avoid my thoughts. I feel bad or I feel nervous, I feel anxious, I feel lonely, I feel sad, I feel bored. They're gonna the addicted, that whatever they're choosing to escape with, I call it escapeaholics or avoidaholics. They're trying to avoid what's inside. So meth, coke, heroin, shopping, cleaning, sexing, texting, porn, gambling, I said shopping, all of
Yeah.
these and eating, all of these are diverting attention away from what bothers you on the inside.
Right.
So that's an addiction is a solution to an internal problem. But
Yes.
it's not a real solution. I call it's an escape. Therefore, escapeaholic. So it's an escaping from what I feel within. But the bad thing is, it doesn't go away.
Mm.
It's still there.
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. So you have already alluded to the fact that addiction is not a disease, but I want you to expand upon that because if
yeah.
anyone is listening, they've most likely been told somewhere along the way that
Yeah. Yeah.
addiction is some kind of disorder, it's some kind of
Mm-hmm.
disease.
Mm-hmm.
According to mainstream psychology, it's actually classified as, let me just see this, it's a chronic relapsing brain disease.
Right. Now let me just kind of let's evaluate the source you just quoted. All right. So a psychologist or a psychotherapist,
Mhm.
how many skills do they have in actually changing the cause of all problems? The cause of all problems is memory. So if you go to someone who doesn't know how to change the cause of your problem, which is memory, you got a disease, you got a disorder, you're broken, you're screwed up, there's something wrong with you. Now, again, remember, if you have somebody who doesn't know how to change the problem, just like I talk about my neighbor Phil. He's a big old guy, big belly. He's a plumber, and of course, if you're having panic attacks or you had an addiction, and you go to Phil and say, "Hey, I've got this obsession with whatever it is," and Phil's going to say, "Must be something wrong with your pipes. Something's clogged in there." And
Right.
it's the same thing with a psychologist. They don't know how to change memories. They're not even trained to change memories. And
Mhm.
even it is considered unethical to change people's memories. But yet the memory is the cause of all problems. So if you're going to go to a system that doesn't know how to change the cause, you're going to be having a problem forever. Now, what I do in drug rehabs, which is different than anyone else, is that I'm going to test their mental emotional addiction. Now, addiction is driven by memories. Addiction is driven by internal resources. So I'll show a video here in just a little bit about Nick and some others. What I do is I will pull them in and I ask some of the basic same questions. Are you addicted? Yes. How do you know you're addicted? I love drugs, right? So
Yeah.
again, and then I ask, have you ever been in any drug rehabs? And they'll say, yeah. And I said, how many? And this one girl, she's like 25 years old. She's been in 25 different drug rehabs at 25 years old. Right? She
Wow.
goes in, so she walks out, she goes back to her drugs. Right? So I asked the next question, said, has any of these programs ever changed your bad memories? The answer is no. Now, by the
Mm.
way, any of you have ever been to an AA meeting, guess what you're going to hear? People's crappy lives,
Yes.
the abuses, the traumas, the rapes, the beatings, all the abuses. And again, if you have all this negativity, seemingly negativity inside you, the most important thing, you want to escape from it. And the best way to escape from it is to do something. Whatever that something is, drugs, sex, alcohol, shopping, cleaning, you name it, they're going to find some solution to avoid what's inside. Now, the problem is it doesn't change what's inside. It's still there. So, so, so again, when I asked these guys, I said, has any of these programs ever changed a bad memory? No. Has any of these programs ever changed your relationship with the drug? The answer is no. Has any of these ever showed you how to monitor, change your emotions and feelings? And the answer is no.
Wow.
So I'm in the UK. I don't remember what town it is, but I'm in the UK, and so I did three presentations or two presentations, two different drug rehabs, and so I explained the addiction model, and they said, "Well, if we used what you do, they won't come back."
Well, exactly. That's the
And,
point.
and they said they will leave our program and go to that program and go to that program and then come back to our program. So it's almost like a revolving door. And again, relapse is not an accident, you know? So again,
Yeah.
so they don't know, they're not changing the real deal of the problem. And you know why? They don't know how. They have no skill, no talents at updating, changing memories. I mean, you think about it, here you are, you're an addict of something. And so if they get you away and they lock you up in some facility where you're not exposed to drugs, it's easy to be drug free. Easy
Mhm.
because it's not there. But when you go out in the real world's going to trigger your emotional responses, and your emotional responses are going to say, "Hey, I need to get a way out, so I'm going to go over here and drink some hibiscus tea." It's not alcohol, but or drug, sex, heroin, whatever it is, they're going to go and find it. Now, here's the problem: the brain records experiences. Now, by the way, what drives all behavior is trauma. There's good traumas and bad traumas. All right. Let me kind of explain a bad trauma: rapes, beatings, murders, anything really horrible, right? And what's a good trauma? A good trauma is, you go to a party and they give you some ecstasy or some meth, and you feel, oh my God, it feels so good. Now that's a trauma that educated you. Hey, this is gonna make you feel good. Now from that point on, the addiction is, I want to feel good. I want that good feeling. So now it becomes a coping mechanism to soothe the beast within, but it never solves the problem. So again, so all behaviors are designed to keep you alive and safe. Addiction is one of those. Now let's go to the mind of the addict. So the mind of the addict, they see the substance and they're jonesing. They see the substance and they so hyper focus on what? How good it is. They go into their feel good transfers by thinking of it. And they start to it's like when they say chocolate chip cookies, some people are salivating, you know?
Right.
This too is an emotional condition that drives you to do things and make decisions. So again, when I'm asking these questions, drug rehabs don't know how to change the number one cause of the addiction, which is emotional pain. Now, there's more than just that. There's more connected to this. There is a whole system with this.
Hmm. And so why do drug rehabs fail?
Because they don't know how to change the problem. They're
Exactly.
babysitting. Now, let's say, for example, you're an heroin addict, and this one guy, because I worked in drug rehab a long time, they said, yeah, they'll give, I don't know what the drug is now, where you're a heroin addict, they give you a substance that is not heroin, but it's just as addictive, and it's free. So here it is. They go in the meeting and they're asking questions and they're doing an intake. And then, of course, they give them some, heroin alternative. And then the lady walks out of the office and the cabinet's right there open with all the drugs is. He just loads his pocket up. He said, I get higher in the drug rehabs than I did out in the street, and it's safer, so it's just a weird system. Now that's not all of them, but see, here's the problem. In these treatment centers, guess who works there? Addicts.
Wow.
They're all addicts.
Why?
And,
Why do you
and
say that? Why do you say that they're addicts?
because they are. They're all either they still have the addiction model in their head. And I say ex-addicts, but the thinking system is the same. Now, of course, so I'm into drug rehab and I'm with there and I'm talking about because when I do the late weight loss program, we'll take your food, whatever this food is, and we'll change the meaning of it to where you don't love it anymore. It's just food. And so what we would do is we'd do the real food, but with drug, you can't do real drugs because it's illegal, right? And so here it is. I'm in the group, and I said, in a weight loss, what I would do is I'd have them bring in their cookies, cakes, whatever, and then we would just change the meaning of it. Then they won't be addicted to it. I said, what we need to do is maybe get some look like the real paraphernalia, like the pipe and the razor and the dollar bill or the stuff, and then we can get stuff that looks like ice, which by the way, ice, meth ice, meth is you can just buy you some rock candy. It looks just like meth. I mean, I've never seen it before, but that's what they say. We use coffee for heroin. We use this black plum that's in a wrapper for dark tar heroin. We will use, powdered sugar for cocaine. And then we'd have a whiskey bottle, but really all it is iced tea or vodka. All it is water. And we have all the paraphernalia, the aluminum, the matches. We got the pipes, everything. All right. So we have this, under a blanket, and I'm going to test their addiction. So first of all, so I said, how you're addicted. I use drugs. I like it. It makes me feel good. And so I said, and then I said, well, has he been in any treatment centers? Have ever helped you change anything? The answer is no, every one of them. And so I said, now listen, I've never done drugs. I really haven't. I mean, I see what's the biggest drug I have? Maybe beer or whiskey. I don't even drink whiskey, but the point is, I never done drugs, and so I said I'd like to do a couple of tests on you. Now, drug rehabs don't do this because they don't know how to change it. But so I said, why don't you do? So I want you to take a deep breath. I want you to close your eyes and go back to a memory, a time where you got high, and just pretend like you're there, and just notice the mental, emotional high just by recalling. And I said, measure it. 0, feel nothing. 10, very strong. A lot of them, it's a 9. Some's a 7. A lot of them are 10. Now, by the way, there's no drugs here. It's just mental, remembering, recalling, and they go into the trance of the hypnosis of the drug. So we got a 10, let's say. And then the next one we'll do is say, okay, so what I'd like you to do, now, by the way, we're talking about muscle memory and internal memory. I said, what I'd like you to do, on your lap is a table, and on this table are the drugs. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to physically reach down and do whatever you do to get high. Just pretend as if it was there. All right, so now they're doing it and they're sweating.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're doing it and they're shaking. Some even cry.
Wow.
All right. So there's no drugs, just mental. So, by the way, we're talking about it's an internal process. And then the next one is I pull this towel back.
Mm.
And then some of them just start immediately crying. Then some start shaking. Some of them, the sweat all across them, they start itching, because that's the drug talking, So it is. And I said, none of this is real. But to their brain and to their mental emotional programming, it's alive inside. All right. So then I said, your legal problems are gone. You're free to be on the street. and a guy pulls up in a truck. No, even though I do it a little bit better than this. I said, so here you are out on the street. You're living your life. Your wife or your boyfriend has dumped you. They fired you. Your grandma died, and you're home and you're alone. And this guy pulls up in a truck, and in the back of the truck is all the drugs, alcohol you could ever have or use. It's a lifetime supply. There's no catch. The keys and titles are given to you. What do you do? Every one of them said, I'll take it. And the ones who said they wouldn't were lying.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so again, it's a test. It's a mental emotional test.
Yeah.
All right. Then we send them off. We do a session on them and we come back. We check everything we just did. And you'll see a total different response because neurologically that information has been shifted and changed.
Yes, I've seen your videos on YouTube, Nicholas. There's a great video about Nicholas.
Yeah. And by the way, I talked to Nick, I don't know, maybe 6, 7 years after all this stuff. And we would come back twice a year and we would test our work and we'd also clean up some of their crazy stuff that they've experienced personally. Because again, when you're in these facilities, they do wreak havoc on your life. Yeah, let me see.
Like being inside of the facility, that's
Oh,
what.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I would think during the drug use, I mean, there's lots of things that they're doing to even get drugs.
Well, there's a lot of traumas in and around drug. There is so
Yes.
much. There is so much, and there's a lot of again that it builds a lot of reasons to use drugs. The traumas, you know.
Mm.
Now, I will say this too. Interviewing individuals who had an addiction, quote unquote, had an addiction, and then they no longer are addicted. I asked some questions like, why aren't you addicted? What happened? What has occurred? What events have you experienced that, or what is going on in your mind now that you're not addicted? And they all say the same basic thing. And basically, I call the process, we call it linking and or dumping. And if you don't understand what a link is, grandma or grandpa or your boyfriend or your mom, they give you chocolate and you feel loved, and the love will be linked to the chocolate. So now a lot of people eat chocolate and they feel love, but yet in the ingredients, there's no love in it. So it's basically linked to the drug. So they have a positive association to the drug itself or
Right.
the substance. You know,
Yeah.
there's a feel good. But again, remember what drives addiction is the escape of the internal conflict.
Yeah. So I guess my question in this is the driver, because is it to fill them? Well, you're saying they want to escape, but what are they wanting to feel? Are they wanting to feel relaxation? Are they, what is
Well, well, again, like I said, why do you use drugs? I want to escape. I want to feel good. I just want to feel better. Because by the way, you have to understand, eating chocolate chip cookies make people feel euphoric, or chocolate feel euphoric.
for a moment?
Yeah, when you're taking, you're using a drug, whether it's meth, heroin, cocaine, cigarettes is the same thing, food,
Yes.
porn, texting, textbooking, whatever it is, all of these have the feel good.
Hmm. Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
they have the great escape. And so they want to feel better. They want to feel good. Therefore, like I said, addiction is a solution to an internal problem.
Hmm.
And so what we want to do is find what drives the addiction. Now that's only one leg of many, and I'll go over that here in a little bit about the many segments about addiction.
I'd be curious how he's doing today.
Yeah, I talked to him on Facebook not long ago. He's married. I don't know if he's married. He's got a wife and children. Let's put it that way.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. All right. So here's Nick. Now, of course, I'm in drug rehab, and Jeff comes up, say, "Hey, we got this guy. He's jonesing. He's seeing blood veins and spoons and tin cans, and it's triggering his addiction." And I said, "Okay, well, won't you have him come in?" He's been in there for about a week, right? So what we do is we do a pre-interview, and then we do a session, and we do a post-interview. So this is the pre. What's your name?
My name's Nicholas.
Nicholas, and Why are you here in Abilitat?
I have a drug problem.
Okay. All right. So you have a drug problem.
You're correct.
And how do you know you have a drug problem?
Because that's all I do.
Really?
Before I came here, that's all I did.
Really?
My world revolved around using drugs.
And
My
how long?
dad's an addict. I'm 26.
And how long you been an addict?
Started using when I was 13.
And you're 26 now.
Yes.
And are you addicted?
Yeah.
Like 0, I'm not addicted at all. 10, I really am addicted. How addicted
Really
are you?
addicted.
So it'd be a 10?
Yeah.
All right. And how do you know you are addicted?
Because I like using drugs. I like getting high.
Okay. So you just like it.
Yeah.
And you're here to build that, but why are you here? Is it court ordered? Or
No.
is it something
I'm
you
here on
choose?
my own. Yeah.
Okay. So you do want to get free from it.
Correct.
All right. And do you know what it feels like to be high?
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to see how strong your high level is. Like 0, you can't feel it. 10, really strong. Go back and find the best high you ever had.
Like, what do you mean go back and
You
find
know, like
it?
just pretend like you're back there in the memory, you're smoking, whatever it is that you do to get high. And can you feel that high feeling?
Yeah, I can feel that.
0 to 10, how strong?
It's a 10.
All right, good. And I've never really done drugs. So show me with your hands, walk through the movements and all the way up to taking your head or doing your drug, whatever it is. And now I just want to check and see how strong this addiction is just by doing it by hand.
I'm an IV user, so
All right, just do it with your hands.
I would get it, put it in, I light the spoon, I drop the cotton in, I fill the syringe back, and then I wouldn't even tie off, I just stick it in my arm, and I draw back, and I'd see the blood, and then I just push in.
Now you can feel it 0 to 10. How strong is this?
Yeah, it's pretty strong right now.
About a 10?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, so you know there's no drugs here.
yeah.
Okay. You know, you're going to leave here one day and you're going to be out in the real world. You know, it's easy to be not addicted where there's no drugs.
Yeah,
But you're going to be out there and somebody's going to pull up in a truck and all the drugs you could ever use in a lifetime. And they're going to throw you the keys, the title's in the truck. What are you going to do?
I don't know. That's the truth. That's why I came here. Like I've been clean a couple times, but I just fall off. You know, so I'm trying to figure out something new. So I'm doing whatever they offer here. Try something different.
Okay. So you don't know what you'll do.
Yeah, I can't tell you right now.
A week ago, what would you do?
A week ago, if I was to be on the streets, I'd probably get high.
All right. So this week, you don't know.
Yeah, this week, like right now, I'm not getting high because I'm here. You know, I'm working on certain things. But if I was to get put in the streets right now, I'd definitely get high. I'm not ready to go.
Okay. So now, if you was on the street, you would get high.
Yeah.
In here, you can't
No,
get high.
in here, it's a totally different thing. I'm doing different things not to do that. You know,
Okay.
but if I was to leave here on my own or something, I wouldn't make it.
Okay. All right. Also, we do have some of your favorite stuff right here. I mean, heroin. You got some black tar heroin. Got your needle. Of course, you got to have the match. We got your meth. Which one do you go for? How strong is it? 0, not at all. 10, really strong.
Really strong, right here. I'd take the meth and the heroin.
Yeah. So 0.
It's a 10.
Okay. Now this is not. No, that's real. You know.
Yeah, I
that.
know.
Okay. So that's what we're doing. We're just checking your addiction level, and then we're gonna work with you, and then we're gonna check it again.
Okay.
All right. Sound good?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? It's a trip.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah. Like it's really bad right now. Like I had problems with like little things here, but this is bad.
Yeah. Well, our goal is to clean it up where you don't have that problem anymore. Sound good?
Yeah.
He's sweating. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing good.
What do you think about that session?
It was different. Like I don't know. I feel like a new person. Like I said things that I usually don't say to people in there, and I I feel like a different person right now. I feel different. I feel new. I feel like there's like a lot of things that got rid of that need to be gone for a long time, and it's all gone now.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
That's good. So, interesting experience. Is that right? And they addressed your addiction, heroin.
Yeah.
So when you think about heroin, what's the first thought that comes to mind?
I think the most nastiest thing you can think of. It's the
Seriously?
grossest thing ever. Yeah. Seriously.
So it hurts a lot of lives too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So you're addicted, right? 0 to 10, I'm addicted to heroin. How true is that?
I don't feel anything anymore like that.
No?
No. I feel like I just did something to cover up the way that I used to feel.
All right. So are you addicted to heroin?
No.
Is that a 0?
Yes.
All right. You know what it feels like to be high on heroin, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. Can you remember that now?
No. I just think of something happy now. It's weird. It's like my mind has been replaced with something different. Like I felt like, I don't know, it's gone. Like, how could I put it? It's like pictures used to be there and it's changed to a different picture in my mind. Like, I don't know, it's just not there anymore. It's really weird.
Okay.
Like I'm kind of tripped out on it. It's a little weird.
Definitely effective.
Yes.
All right. So what I'd like you to do is just get your heroin fix. Go ahead and move your hands and find your heroin fix. See if you can do it. I just test and see how your addiction level is.
I used to just like get a spoon, light it, drop the cotton in, pull the needle back, put it on my arm, and shoot up.
Any reaction when you think about it?
No.
Does it feel any desire? 0, no desire. 10.
There's 0. It's nothing. This is like seriously tripping me out right now. It's so weird right now what's going on.
Really?
Yes.
All right. So you're free to go home. Your legal problems are gone. You're out there on the street in the real world. Someone pulls up with a truck with all the drugs you could ever use and sell. Free. Gives you the keys and the title to the truck. What do?
I'm good.
What does that mean?
I'm like, don't want it. It's worthless. Ruins lives. I got better things in life to do.
Okay.
I gave up a lot of things over that, and I'd rather not ruin any more of my life.
All right. Well, we do have some heroin here for you. You got whatever you want there. That'll fix you up really good. What's your reaction when you see the drugs?
Nothing anymore.
Really?
Like, I'm not sweating anymore. Like nothing. It's like I could grab this and it's just nothing now. Like before I couldn't even do that.
Yeah, I remember you.
Like it's a trip. I could literally sit here and touch everything and it's nothing. I don't know what. I don't know. It's all gone. This is weird. This is so weird. This is a trip.
All right, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Did they help you change memories?
Yeah.
All right, I know you had a memory, Grandpa beating your grandma. You remember how bad
Yeah.
that was?
That ain't there anymore. It's like when I think of my grandpa now, I think about when he used to hold me. I used to lay on his chest. That's what I think about. I don't think of that bad thing anymore.
So that doesn't bother you anymore, Grandpa?
No.
Okay. What about the fish tank? You remember how that bothered you?
Yeah, that doesn't bother me either. Now I see as the pictures in my head as he's cleaning the fish tank, and not what was going on before.
Okay.
Like it doesn't, like, I don't know, it's just like I feel like I was given some gift right now to do something different in the world, and I was like, they took the issues I had away, and now I can move forward in life. It's weird. I don't know, I was told that either it's gonna work or you could just hide and let things bother you, so I just said whatever I felt that was bothering me at the time. You know, some of it was emotional, and then it's just like...
So does it bother you now when you think about that?
No. No.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I could honestly say that is probably one of the most amazingest things I've ever experienced in my life right now.
That's good.
Like, this is seriously the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. I've been to a lot of counseling. I've been to all kinds of things, and the amount of time I spent in that room, and it's just like not bothering me right now.
They changed your life?
Yeah, right now, my life has felt like it's been changed.
Good experience?
Yes, very good experience. Thank you guys very much.
Right.
Robert, was that just a 2 hour session that
Yeah,
he?
he had a 2 hour session. Yeah, 2 hour session. Now, what we did is we come back every 6 months, and the first 6 months he didn't do an interview, or maybe he did do an interview. Yeah, maybe he did. Anyway, he came back, and then 6 months later, the drug stuff's gone out of his head. He doesn't think about it. The tin cans, the blood veins, none of that affect him anymore. So
Wow, that was one 2 hour session.
1 2 hour session.
That's incredible. And he said, I feel like a different person.
Right.
And
Right.
and you were tripping him out. That
Well, see
you messed him up.
yeah. Remember now, people aren't used to fast changes. I mean, we can go to a single memory, and I do it all the time. I do it all the time. I do, these weekly sessions that people come, and they will bring a memory, and they've had it ever since they were 5 years old. Tormented them within 3 minutes, it's gone, and they can't bring it back. And a week later, months later, it's still gone. Because neurologically, we're talking about neuroscience. We're talking about the mechanics of the mind. And once you update memory, the memory is updated. And so now that doesn't, let me just say this, there are complexities for some minds. Like he's a very simple, clean, non-complex thinker. Now we've got like another guy named Eric. Now, he's done every drug on the planet, so to speak. All right. So we may spend a lot of time cleaning up one drug, and then we go to the second drug. It's another job. It's another big task because they create neurological information and they create systems inside the mind. Some more complex, some less complex.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're at a point in your life where you know something has to change, you're suffering, you're addicted, you already know that. It is time to make a change. Book a one-on-one session with Robert. He will help you uncover exactly what's behind the behavior, the problem, and help you clear it or help you clean it up, just like he did with Nicholas.
Yeah. Yeah, Nicholas is a very non-complex person. There are people pretty complex, and I mentioned that just a little bit ago.
Yeah. So how do you know if someone's complex and someone is more simple to work with?
Well, you start talking to them and how they internally represent things. Now, and when I say complex, let's just say Nicholas is a man who's pretty much in control of himself. He's not. There are some men that aren't that way, but so again, when you have a person who we talk about trauma because the driving force behind all addictions is the avoidance of pain and or the seeking of something better than what they currently feel. They're not happy with what they are in their life. And so a lot of times, a lot of these events that take someone down the addictive road there's many parts to this, and trauma plays a big role of it, but not all the time. And so here are common models. Like I've heard this story not once, but many times. I'm 15 years old. My boyfriend and I had sex, and I got pregnant. All right. So he pays for the abortion. She's always wanted children. She's never had children. She's in her late 40s. And from the abortion and the anger towards herself, feeling like I'm a worthless piece of crap. No one will ever love me. No one will ever like me. No one will ever need to know this story. Again, so now they have very little value. And so they're going to have to find people like them. Right. So they're going to have to go find people who don't like themselves either. So they're going to find them out there smoking, drugging, etc. So they start to go down that numbing program.
Right.
And of course, the bad thing is the snowball effect is really big. It gets worse and worse and worse. There's rapes, there's beatings, there's all kinds of crazy stuff involved with this.
Yes.
And then their whole life changed because of an abortion or because of a beating or because of a rape or because of some trauma or how their mother always treated them, whatever it is. And they build this internal messy world, and they're going to run to something to numb it for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then they spend their life hurting themselves.
It's
Punishing themselves.
Yeah, it's a self-hatred program. Now that's just one person right there. There was a young girl who's 25 years old, and of course, I'm in a drug rehab. And at 25 years old, she's had 25 treatment centers, been in 25 treatment centers. At 25, as soon as they let her out, boom, she's on the drugs. All right, again, the same questions. Did they ever help you change any bad memories? Did they ever change your relationship with the drugs? No. They show you how to monitor and change your emotions and feelings? No. All right, none of these are there. And so one thing I said, what is it really? What happened? What one event? What major thing happened? She goes, it was my birthday. We're in Los Angeles, California. My family's Hispanic, and we're going to have a big birthday party for me. My dad rents this big hotel. We got lots of fun, lots of parties, all this good stuff, celebrating my birthday. She says, but that night when I went to bed, some stranger came in my room and raped me. She's never told anybody, no one, zero. And if she did, she said my dad would be arrested because he killed somebody. Now, this little girl at 12 years old, she was a gymnast. She was very successful, straight A's in school, really popular kid until that event. Now her value goes down. Her fear is up. She starts hanging around the wrong group. And there's a group that was just as messed up as she was. So she found her people. And so then this trauma, this emotional event, changed who she saw herself to be. And so she's been trying to escape ever since. Ever since. Now, by the way, now it's been probably, I don't know how long ago, I would probably say at least 8 or 10 years now. She has not gone back to treatment. She has not gone back in rehabs at all.
She hasn't relapsed?
No, not at all.
Amazing. Okay.
But there is a creative part that created this. Now, how do you do that? You have to change the references. You
Yes.
have to change the fears. Again, when you have one single event, now guys, you know that event in your life that changed how you view yourself in the world. That one event taints how you allow people to treat you. It taints how you allow yourself to treat you. This internal hatred, this internal pain drives the addiction. Now, again, the addiction is a solution to an internal problem. If you go to people who don't know how to change memories, you're going to always have this problem. Now, here's a bad thing. They got AA. AA is okay. It's the first step. And AA, what they're going to, first of all, you have a disease. My name is John. I'm an addict, and I'll always be an addict, right? Right. So that is an identity saying I'll always be an addict. Now, of course, when you go to these meetings, guess what you're going to hear? Other bad stories. And the little girl's crying as she's sitting in the meeting, and the guy leans over and says, don't make up pictures when they tell the stories. Don't make up images when they tell the stories because it's re-traumatizing and adding more to your trauma,
Yes.
right? And then, of
Yeah.
course, when you go to AA, there's some good steps, but they don't finish the program. And of course, you're always going to be addicted and you must always come back because it works. Well, if it worked, you would have to come back, right? But while you're staying busy and you're being an AA-aholic, it means you're always in meetings for the rest of your life. And then again, you could put in a room like this room here, you can put heroin, cocaine, meth, whiskey, cheesecake, chocolate chip cookies, and all the things that people could be addicted to. But the only ones that you're going to have a problem with is the one you already have a relationship with. So that means if
Yes.
the almighty alcohol has power over you, it's your boss.
Yeah.
And so I go and we change it. We make it disgusting,
Exactly.
We change the meaning of it.
Yeah.
So again, it's not the substance, but rather your internal relationship.
Yeah.
It's another segment to the addiction programming.
I want
Because
to talk about these systems for a little bit, and then we can go more into this. You have so much knowledge on this, Robert. These systems, the systems that are in place, the system failed that girl. If she had to go to a rehab 25 times, it failed. So why do people keep on going back to these systems that are
that's all there
designed
is. That's
to-
all they have to offer.
Well, then something needs to change because this fires me up.
Well, you have to understand too, this is a cash cow. The addiction system is a cash cow. That means they make big money, you keep coming back.
Well, the system's a failing system,
Yeah,
so
but
I would say do
yeah,
something else because it's
yeah.
not working.
Well, yeah, I agree. But so remember, when you listen to these guys, you have a disease.
Yes,
You have
and
a disorder. You have a genetic problem.
well, and that right
That
there,
means you can never,
you've
ever,
already given
ever.
up. Well, I
Yeah,
I may as well, like, it's
yeah,
over for me. Now I'm just going to suffer through my life because
yeah,
this
yeah,
owns me.
yeah, yeah. So when you go to AA meetings, now by the way, I'm not dissing AA at all. It's a step. Now, here's a problem: the system says you'll always be an addict. That's not a good system. And there's some parts in the AA that's good. I mean, you get your sponsor, someone to support you. And the fourth step is to go and make peace with all the ills and things that you've done, confess it. That's a start. But most systems, including the AA model, if they're not changing memories, they're not changing memories, you know. And unfortunately, the bad thing about it, now we talked about linking, you know, like for example, when anybody quit doing something, like if they quit, you know, chocolate or whatever the drug is, they have to have an internal repulsion to keep them from doing it. That means we call it dumping. You dump on the drug, you dump on the behavior. That means you create negative associations to it, proper associations, actually. And so now this guy, and the bad thing about AA is it doesn't have a very good success rate. Another second bad thing is they get to the point there's no way out. Because again, remember, if your only coping skill is to eat, drugs, sex, alcohol, whatever, and that's your only coping skill, and they take this coping skill away. Now, AA does not know how to change bad memories. Bad memories is what drives the addiction. So then they get to the point, there's only one way out now. How many of these famous and not so famous people who've been to AA or NA and they end up killing themselves because that's the only option they have left? They can't go the drug because it's already been the alcohol, drug, etc. has been dumped on so much they can't go there because the repulsion's there. But now they have no skill to change how they feel, and that's the key that sets you free.
Mhm. I'm looking at the success rates at A with AA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it
yeah,
is.
well, you should do the suicide rates in AAA. People in AA, suicide rates is really high. Now, again, I'm not dissing it because it's better than what people had before. The nice thing is, first of all, if you're coming from an alcoholic family, a drug addict family, and you think you're the only one, the Lone Ranger, and you're the only one suffering, when you find a group of people that have the same problem, you said, I found my peeps. You know, I found someone I can relate to, I can talk about. But again, the system says you'll always be one and there's never any freedom. And that's not true. That doesn't mean you'll want to use, but you don't have that fear and being controlled by it, you know. And of course, you know, again, we're talking about systems of change. If they can't change memory, there's not much of a change. Again, workaholism, alcoholism, AAholism, because you know they go to AA, they start smoking a lot. Sex happens a lot at AA, and you know there's just bad stories. You know, all kinds of weird stuff evolve around that because again they have no coping skills, so they have to shift smoking, AAing, or sexing, whatever. You know.
Right, yeah. But there's got to be a better solution.
Yeah, there's only one solution, and that is going inside and changing memories,
That's
updating how you represent your world, update how you represent the past. So let me show you a little model I got here. Now the program behind addictions. All right, so this is my addiction model. By the way, it's the same model for pain, same model for weight loss. So first of all, we got the addiction in the middle. So what drives the addiction? Now we have what you call at the very top here, who am I with the drug? So you have an identity, you create a self-value, and your history builds your identity. So I'm an addict. How do you know you're an addict? I love drugs. So again, and then we also have with addiction addicts, we say, well, who are you acting like? Who else in your life? So my dad was an addict. My mom was a workaholic. My mom was a chocoholic, whatever. are my best friend or school buddies. All right. Then the next thing that keeps addiction alive is the social. So there's a family. You got your parents, your buddies, your parties, who they do it with, who they use it with. All of this is a part of that addiction model. And then, of course, you have the locations of the addictions. When we talk about, especially, meth or heroin and some of these others, locations are the McDonald's bathrooms or at the park, in their car, some of the really popular ones. And then, of course, parties when you go partying, some people go party and that's smoking and drinking and etc. So there's a lot of different environmental triggers, we would call, or locations. The woman said, I guess I'm going to get rid of my car. I said, why? She said, because the car is where I did all the drugs. I said, well, we just got to clean up your emotional attachment and associations inside the car so you can just enjoy driving instead. And then, of course, with all addictions, there's a benefit to it. There is a benefit, which means it's good. What does it make it good for you? What does it do for you? What are the benefits you get from this? I get to escape. I get to numb out. Like the one guy says, I feel like I'm Superman. Another one says, I'm a super stud. Of course, this is what they tell me. They say when you take a, hit of meth, it goes right there to your crotch. I mean, they can have sex all day long. So again, there's all kinds of craziness. And then, of course, the benefits, by the way, the people who sell the drugs, now they're important now. They got the benefits is that I am king. They will give me TVs, they'll give me sex, they'll give me anything I want. That's power. All right. And then, of course, inside of the mind of the individual, there is what you call the mental rehearsal. Inside of their mind, they can just remember, just like I did the exercise, they can just remember and feel good. And that's the catch that pulls them back when they quit drinking or drugging, whatever it is. That memory is still alive inside. So we have to change that. And then, of course, you got the physical rituals, the things that you do physically. It's the hunt for the drug. It's the sneaking around. It's the lighting. It's the match. It's the movement, whatever it is, it's part of the ritual. And then some of the exciting things, it's actually, like I said, the hunt. You start scheming ways to get it. And then, of course, with the dealers, there's power, there's money, there's sex. They become important.
Right.
And lots of money. And so what I do in the first session at the top, first of all, I'm going to clean up their memories, the pain, the hurts, and the things that drive them. And then, of course, we're going to look for the escape. Now, addictions is an escape. So what are they escaping from? What are the good things that they're finding within the escape? And we start eliciting this strategy because people still need to have a coping skill. The only coping skill they have is to something, so whatever that something is. And it doesn't work, but temporary, there's this temporary mental vacation, so to speak, physical too. And so again, they have to have their way out. So we have to create a positive replacement for the benefit that the drug was giving them. So we got to move things around. And then also what we have to do is, what are the bad things about drugs? Because to be honest with you, when someone quits smoking or they quit a drug or they quit whatever the addiction is, and if inside their head the memories of feel good is still there, when life goes bad, they're going to go to this. They're going to go to the cigarettes. They're going to go to their drug. They're going to go to their food to escape again, because there's still emotional positive associations. So we got to break that pattern. So there's all the feel goods, but also what we want to do is find out what the negatives. What are the negative parts about this? Now, of course, if anybody's done drugs or alcohol or food, whatever it is, there is a negative side effect, and we want to amplify those. We don't want to get rid of those. We want to use them as a contributing factor to say, no way in hell I'll ever use drugs. Because see, when you're having a bad day in paradise, you're only thinking a way out. Mm-hmm. And the way your way out is in your mind. You have this feel good of memories of drugs or whatever it is. So now you're jonesing for that. And what you're not thinking about is the after effect, because it's gone. All you see is my feel good. But the problem is the feel good is still there. So what we do is we collapse it where the feel good is not there, and we elevate the payoff. And if they do it, that means waking up and all your orifices are burning. You got piss in your mouth. Here it is, your family is incarcerated. You walk in a trailer house and your buddy that you sold it to, You can smell his rotting flesh. So all of these contribute to saying no. But again, that is pushed away and they only focus on the high. But so then you say, well, then your family won't, I mean, you'll be incarcerated, you go to jail. Your family will be heartbroken. Your daughter, she may be watching you and she may end up dating a drug addict and becoming a drug addict because they're watching you. So we got to elevate the pain to where the pain overshadows the pleasure, because we already got rid of the pleasure. We've collapsed that. So now the mental construction in the mind, when we talk about drugs, the first thing they're going to go is no way in hell. Because like he said, like Nick said, it's like the picture was there and now it's replaced.
Wow.
And so that's again, the key to addiction is emotions. The key to addiction is I want to feel better. I want to escape. I want a way out. So that's how I do it.
Yes. That flow chart is gold.
Oh yeah. And by the way, it's the same pattern for addiction. It's the same pattern for pain. It's the same pattern for a lot of stuff.
Which level do you teach that in eutaptics?
Level 4.
Okay.
Yeah. It's now addiction is such a big, it's got all the good stuff in it. The pain, the drama. So Jason, here he is. He comes from, he's in Afghanistan. And again, he's a good guy. He drives a tank, and he witnessed the first kill, his first kill. A little girl who got burnt. He couldn't help her. His buddies were killed. All these things inside of him, and the trauma is big. And of course, if you have no coping skill, by the way, the military says suck it up. Hang in there, shut up, then just do something, stay busy, which is another coping mechanism. And so he said, man, I've never talked to anybody about this stuff. I said, well, listen, you don't have to talk to me about one. Pick a memory, the worst one, and you don't have to tell me what it is, but you have to know, and I'll help you change it so you know it's okay to give me the rest of them. He said, I've never talked about this stuff. Now, by the way, Jason, he's waking up 6 times a night, every night, all night long. He's been doing that ever since he left. I think he kind of retired out of the military. But the problem is, he's feeling miserable. He's depressed. He's got all this stuff weighing him down. And so he goes to his buddy, and the guy next door is token and, doing math. And so he's, out of curiosity, let me try it. Well, all of a sudden it makes his world feel good. It hijacks the bad feeling. Now he's on cloud 9. Well, listen, he's depressed. And now he's feeling good. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. What you going to do? Mm-hmm. He's not playing the story out of being incarcerated and arrested and his children are being taken from him and divorced. He didn't take all that. He just wants his feel good because he's miserable.
Yeah.
And so here it is. I clean up memory. So here I said, he write me memories. We change his memory. He talked about it, says, I'm not there anymore. It's not real. And so we finish the rest of them up. So the next day he comes back in and I say, how you doing? I said, I slept all night long. All night long. I slept all night long. And he says, but sometimes I'm out there out smoking and I get high anxiety just smoking. I said, well, let me explain how the brain works. All right. You're sitting at the kitchen table. Your dad comes in and throws a banana and hits you in the head. So now you're sitting at the table and you're anxious because who knows going to come in through the door and throw a banana at you, right? He goes, I know what it is. I go, what is it? He goes, well, when I'm in Afghanistan, me and my buddies at night, we're sitting there smoking, leaning against the Humvee, and I look up and I see all these tracer rounds coming right at us to kill us. They jump under the Humvee and they hear the bing, 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 the bullets hitting the Humvee. So his brain linked danger and smoking.
Wow.
And he didn't even know. I mean, logically he didn't know, but when I started,
Right.
it made sense to him.
Mm-hmm.
So again, even with addiction, smoking is a very interesting addiction. And it's by the way, it's one of the easiest addictions to get off of physically, but not emotionally.
Okay.
The emotional addiction now, just like meth will hijack your whole system. Now, what smoking does, I smoked and I quit. I smoked at 14 and I quit at 14.
Oh, goodness.
But the point is that when you smoke, it doesn't taste good. It kind of makes you sick.
No,
People get
it's
nervous and
awful.
all this stuff. But they want to be accepted. They want to be a part of the team, so they're going to keep smoking to be tough or to be accepted. Or they're going to be like your dad and they smoke. Or they're going to create
Yes.
positive emotional association. So how nicotine works, you have no nicotine in your body, there's no nervousness and no anxiety. But when you start smoking, nicotine goes up. As nicotine starts to go down, anxiety in the body goes up. And then when you smoke, you get relaxed. So your brain wires, smoking relaxes you. But all it really does is relaxes the nicotine withdrawal.
Wow.
But the weird thing is you start creating positive emotional association drinking and fun with family, drinking, taking breaks and smoking with your buddies, avoiding work. Smoking is my best friend because it's the only friend that I have. You light them up, you throw them away. That's what I say. And also, again, they create what you call emotional associations. It breaks up my day. It controls my whole day. I plan my whole day around it. It becomes my controlling mother or my controlling father
Oh, wow.
in a weird way, right?
That is so true. Yes, exactly.
So,
I can see that.
so with the addiction, and the thing is, it's more emotional than it is physical. Like I say, 3 days off of cigarettes, you're not physically addicted. It's the emotional component that drives you,
Mm.
right? So that's how. Now I work with all addictions. They're all the same, pretty much.
But
Very,
you understand the nuances with each one. You
because I did them
understand.
all. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So another thing, Robert, there's three things that I wanted to talk about because there's three things that people are Googling over and over again when it comes to addiction.
Hmm.
And the first one is, why can't I stop drinking or smoking or using, even though I know it's bad for me?
Yeah. Well, there's two systems involved here: logic and the autonomic system, which is your brain system. Now, again, if you've been using whatever you're using to feel better and you want to quit doing what feels better for you, makes you feel better, that's where the conflict happens. You know, logically, I mean, even though some of these guys who are logically know this drug, this behavior is harming me, but they can't stop it because the behavior is satisfying or soothing the inner demons within. So they're trying to logically be strong, say, I wish I just had more willpower. I said, I wish willpower would fix it, but it doesn't.
No,
So
exactly.
so the reason why I mean, eventually over time, if you could create enough negativity associated to the behavior, you could quit. But then again, you still got to have a coping mechanism. So again, reason why it's so hard is because you're using conscious logic and it doesn't win. The
It
the
doesn't.
emotional links and trainings out override that, and either that you just really have to work hard to be strong, and it's not easy. The easy way is to change reason why, which is changing memories. But you guys listening, it's a fairy tale. You can't change memories and you don't know how. Unless you sign up to my free course, you can change yourself course and you learn how to take control. And or if your stuff is so big and scary, bring it to me. I'll help you change it. It'll set you free.
That's right.
Step one.
Yes, that's step one. All right. The second thing that people are Googling is this: am I addicted? So they don't want to really admit it out loud.
Right.
And what is this question? So this question, it means, what does that mean from your perspective?
Well,
What?
again, you're not addictive. You're just using a something to feel better. It's a solution to an internal problem. The problem is you don't know why you do it or you don't know how to stop it. So yeah, there's shame and embarrassment to this because again, the shame and embarrassment is I like it even though I shouldn't. I do it, it makes me feel good, and then I feel guilty because it does. There's a mix here.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly.
then again, you think you're broken. You're there. I am defective. And again,
Yes.
remember the systems out there that's supposed to help people who are addicted. You got a disease. You got a genetic problem.
Yes.
You're just going to have to learn to live with it and deal with it and keep coming back. Maybe you won't go back to that.
Every time you say that, that fires me up. I can barely stand that. I just think that there's answers. So why would someone go back to a system that doesn't work?
Well, hold on. That's all there is available that they're aware of.
that
Do
they're
you,
aware
do
of.
you,
Well, then
yeah,
we need to do something different so that
yeah,
they can hear
yeah.
about what
Well,
works.
neuroplasticity is coming out there, and my system's out there. But again, you have again, like when you see these, even Gabor Mate, he's saying, well, it's a disease, it's a mental illness, and that's bullshit. It's a mental process. Now, it is
Yes.
an illness if you don't know how to change the cause, which is memory.
Hmm.
It's not an illness. Now, the weird thing is, I started watching Gabor, and I said he's got to be watching my videos. He said everything I say. The only difference between he and I is I know how to change it, and he just says you're going to live with it, deal with it.
Yes. Now it's coping with what you have.
Yeah,
Just,
cope with it.
yeah.
But again, by the way, now this is the major component I mentioned earlier because this becomes an identity. I'm an addict, and I'll always be an addict.
Yeah.
And that's because the images and the memories inside their mind maintain that.
Hmm.
And those are changeable. Those are all changeable if you know what you're doing.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
then how do the beliefs and the identity keep someone stuck in the addiction?
Well, it's not stuck, it's just repetitive.
Mm.
Remember, the addiction is a thermometer on the wall that says this is safe, this is coping, this is handling, this is processing. Everybody does this. This is one system that is consistent across the board. This is an innate, built-in coping mechanism. And that is this. I feel bad, therefore I'm going to do this. I feel bad, I'm going to go create a fantasy world inside my head. I feel bad, I'm going to go join this group that does whatever. I feel bad, so I'm going to smoke, drink, drugs, and sex. So that is a coping system, right? So again, so to solve it, is you've got to go in and change how it's internalized. Now, here's a bad thing. So here it is, miserableness, and you're running over here to, we'll use food, cookies, cakes, ice cream, and smoking. So you feel bad, and then you'll run over here, and while you're here, you're really enjoying it, you're feeling good, and you're feeling really good. And you're not thinking about the bad, so therefore you escaped from the misery. But here's the problem. It didn't get rid of the cause. The memory's still there. And now what happens is the more you keep escaping, the closer the misery moves into your escape program. So that means if you've been using food to escape your emotions and feelings, and you have eating programs that keep you miserable, eventually what you escape to becomes the noose around your neck that destroys you. If you keep escaping with workaholism, eventually the work will wear you out, your body parts will fall apart, then all the money you made, you get to spend it on your health trying to recapture your health. If you're using food to deal with your problems, you're going to get bigger and bigger. You start hating your body more. Then you have to buy tenant awning attire. Then you have diabetes. Then you have this and you have that. Because again, it worked for a while, but you never changed something. Same way with heroin, meth, cocaine, whatever the addiction is.
Yes, yes. So if something in this conversation is clicking for you and you're starting to realize that this is not just about a symptom, it's not about the behavior, Robert's free 5-day online course is where you need to go next. It will show you exactly why nothing else has worked for you and exactly what will. This isn't just
Mhm.
information. It's the beginning of real
Mhm.
lasting change. And you can sign
Yeah.
up through the link that is found in the show notes.
Yeah. And another thing too with what I'm teaching is emotional resilience. Um, I call it directed mindfulness. You're directing what your mind is full of. You're also cleaning up, sorting out, and adjusting because this is real power. If you can change how you feel, you can change how you respond to people, you can change your reaction to foods, chemicals, you have real power. And I introduce you to your mind and I show you how to change it to set you free. Now, I realize that there are some positive connections with your drugs and with your addiction. I mean, you do have your family of, addicted ones. And of course, when everybody joins the same group, they all believe the same thing. I'm addicted, I'll always be addicted. That's just how my life is. That's not a good system, but at least you have friends and you're all miserable together. You can swap stories and see who has the worst ones.
But that actually does happen quite often.
Oh yeah. Oh
All
yeah.
right. So the third question that people are Googling, and I want to cover this one yet. This one is probably the most loaded question is how do I stop my addiction from owning my life?
Mm.
And they
It's
don't want, here's the other thing that they Google along with this question is they don't want to go to a rehab. They
mhm.
don't want to tell anyone and they just want to fix it quietly.
Yeah. Well, you can. You really can. But you can't do it with traditional ways. I mean, how many times I've heard people, they go to ayahuasca 12 times, they still got the problem. They went to the big vagina, fell into the swimming pool, primal scream, beating furniture, write on paper and burning it. All of these, you could get some relief or some kind of an idea, but it doesn't actually change the core, which is the memory reference. So, what I would suggest, if you really want control, you really want power, learn how your mind works and change what you do in your head.
That's
That
right.
is going to set you free.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And so if you've done the programs, you've read the books, you've tried to willpower your way out of the addiction, you know that it's not working. So it's time to go deeper. And you can schedule a one-on-one with Robert
Mhm.
to get your life back. Do
Mhm.
something.
Right.
Call the office, do something. Talk to Melanie, set up a strategy call with me, do something
Yeah.
because you do not have to live your life suffering.
You can change it. I mean, I know it sounds, and I know it's scary. Some of you guys, and like anybody has addictions or really good addictions. I mean, this is the utopia of miserable life. I mean, when you go to drug rehab, you're talking about experts at addiction. I mean, they can do anything to avoid their feelings. And of course, they're great cons, they're great liars. They know how to manipulate, know how to get what they want. So these are really big systems. And so if you have big stuff that's inside, because here it is, we talk about I mean, these individuals like the 12-year-old little kid who was raped and it changed her idea about herself. The 17-year-old little girl who was raped, or the 12-year-old little boy who was raped. It changes how you see yourself. It changes how you see the world. And it actually drives you to find a way to get out, to numb out, and to solve the internal problem. So knowing how to solve and change bad memories, like you can literally change your worst memory and you can't even bring it back. You know what happened, but you can't feel it anymore because it's not real. Because see, when you think about it, talk about time travel, really. Time travel, really, is when you remember when you're 5 years old, whatever happened, when you remember, you feel like you're there, but you're now 45 or 55, right? So you go back and it feels real. That drives your action behavior. So if you go and you change and adjust that memory, when you remember it, it's way over there. You know what happened, but it's not real. Then you're free. And that's the whole key. And what I do is we test it, bring it back. Can you make it bother you? Can you look for a way? I spend more time trying to give the problem back after I got rid of it to make sure that they have no avenue internally, no neural network to bring it up, which is the key to set you free, is memory.
Yes, exactly. Speak directly to the listener who has done 17 different rehabs. They've tried everything and they feel
Yeah.
hopeless.
Yeah, they're hopeless, trapped, and miserable. Yeah. Well, there is hope, be honest with you. And I know that since a lot of people tried so many things and nothing really worked, they kept going back. It's like dieting, it keeps coming back because they're not addressing the real deal. You can make peace with your head. And I know you're probably more scared of what's in your head than actually the drug itself. But I'm telling you, that stuff is over. The experiences are gone. You're not there anymore. And you're just dealing with matter, data, information on about 3.5 pounds of information. That's not that much. It seems big because your body responds to it because the brain makes it real. We go and adjust the memories, it sets you free. It really will set you free. And it's so many different stories. This just reminded me of this one girl. Here she is as a little kid, and she was like OCD. She's always counting and read things, saying things all the time. And so when she was a kid, they put her on Ritalin, and of course she was so anxious and nervous, and so. And that's what drove her to use drugs. She couldn't control her thoughts. She had no power over her thoughts. So drugs was the only way to put the fire out. Well, she became a drug addict. So here it is. She's in drug rehab, and we go change those memories that drove her counting, who drove that fear, because it's driven by fear, and of course anything outside to soothe what's going on inside or escape from it. We changed it, and I have a great testimony where she says, it's been 6 months and I realized I hadn't been doing that. My head is peaceful. My head is peaceful. I don't need drugs to put the fire out inside me because it's gone because we changed the memories. A little kid.
So obviously, 6 months ago when we were here, you had some sessions, is that correct?
I did. I had 4.
Very good. And kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're here because of drugs. And have you been in any other treatment centers before?
This is my 14th treatment center.
14th treatment center, okay. And has any of these treatment centers ever helped you change emotions?
No.
Have any of these treatment centers helped you change bad memories?
No.
Have they showed you how to change how you feel emotionally?
No.
All right, so obviously it was drugs, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. What was it?
Heroin and crack.
Heroin and crack, okay.
It started with pills and it went just from one to another.
And so how long have you been using drugs?
Since I was 13.
13.
I'm 29 now.
All right, very good. And why do you think you were addicted?
I think a lot of the reasons started was because I just wanted to stop my brain. I don't know why I continued to go back to it, because I had bouts of sobriety and I just kept going back.
So when you say stop my brain, what does that mean?
Well, I was diagnosed with OCD at a very young age. I started seeing a psychiatrist for it. And I just couldn't stop. Constantly, when I would lay down at night, when I was in school, all the time, my brain was just going, and it was just mentally exhausting.
So what was it doing inside?
Spelling and counting.
So what does that mean?
Well, say if I was sitting here with you talking to you, or if I was in school, and my brain would just pick up a word, any word, and I would just start spelling it. And there was like there was mechanics to it. Like I would start on the left side. I had like a little chart, left side and right side, and I would start on the left side and spell. Say for my name, for example, it has Angela has 6 letters, and I would spell Angela. But for some reason, I had to finish on the left side, so I would add a silent letter, and then so it would be Angela. I would add an L because that wouldn't change the sound of the word, and I would spell it until it landed on the left, and then I would start with the next word. And then my brain would just pick up the next word, whether it was something I saw, something somebody said, and I would just go and go. And it was 24 hours a day, never would stop. And I think that's why I was attracted to downers, like Xanax, heroin, somas, because it just would stop my brain for a little while.
And so how long is that going on in your life? Ever since
The spelling?
Yeah.
Ever since I can remember. Like I said, I saw my first psychiatrist when I was like 13 or 14.
And so how's it been now?
I never even realized up until a few days ago when I was telling my younger sister that you guys were coming that I don't do it anymore. And it was the main thing that I tapped on last time. And I was telling her about like what I was working on last time, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't do it anymore. So it's been a huge weight off my shoulders because I can lay down in my bed now and go to sleep. And I don't have to spell. And it's very freeing.
So this is OCD, and you've been doing it for a long time.
A long time.
And how many sessions did it disappear?
Well, I did 4 sessions last time. I think we worked on it for 2 sessions.
Okay. And your OCD's gone.
Gone.
How's that feel?
Amazing. It's a huge, like I said, it's a huge weight lifted off my shoulders because I don't have to take anything anymore to live a normal life. Because I wasn't normal. My therapist would even tell me like not making my bed before I left the house would be progress for me because I didn't do that for years. And just like things that I would have to do all the time, I don't have to do them anymore. It's it's amazing. And I don't have to take medication for it. I was on prescribed fluoxamine, which is a really old medication, but Paxil, Xanax, like all these things, because psychiatrists and doctors would tell me I would need it to live a normal life, and now I don't.
So how many years, you've been a lot of years in therapy with this?
A lot.
And was that the reason why you started using drugs? Is that what you said?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. So
I think it's probably played a huge part in saving my life, because if I didn't work on that, I could work on all the other things too that I'm sure have a big part in saving my life. But if I can't stop my brain, I'm going to be searching for something to help it stop it, you know?
So now it's stopped.
Yeah. So even when I had those bouts of sobriety, what I called sobriety at the time, because I wasn't sticking needles in my arms, I was still taking Xanax and the fluvoxamine and things like that. And so it was just like a Band-Aid for my mind, you know? So now I don't need a Band-Aid because I got the real fix.
And that's in a couple of sessions.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So one of the things is we tested your addiction level, and I'd like to check it again. So, are you addicted?
No,
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
How do you know you're not addicted?
Well, the things that used to bug me don't bug me anymore. Like I used to obsess over my veins. When I would see spoons, I would obsess over it like constantly. It would preoccupy my mind, you know, when it wasn't spilling. And I don't get like that anymore.
And this has been 6 months ago. So what I'd like you to do is just take a deep breath, close your eyes, and I'd like you to go back and see if you can find your high. That means go to a memory where you injected, go back to the memory where you felt it, and see if you can find that high feeling in your mind.
No,
0, can't feel it. 10, very strong. How strong is it?
it's not there. I
Okay.
mean, I can think of like people that were associated with it, but not getting high.
Okay, very good. Okay, you can open your eyes. And on your lap is a table, and on this table is your drug. What I'd like you to do is to physically act out as if you're going to get high, pretend like you're going to get high, and see if there's any reaction. Just go ahead and do the whole entire high and see if you can feel anything or sense anything.
Okay. No.
Go ahead and get your hit.
No. I mean, it bugs me a little bit, but
I mean, like, does it make you excited? Does it make you
No.
want to do it? Or does it repulse you?
it repulses me.
And that's good. That's what we wanted. Very good.
Yeah, last time I did the interview, I remember I was crying. Like,
Yeah.
I was only here for, I think, a week.
Yeah, very good. Now, okay, you was here for a week, and before that in other treatment centers. How often did you think about drugs?
All the time.
All the time. And how long have you, recently, or in the last 6 months, how often do you think of drugs?
Not very often. I can't even really. Well, a new girl came in, and I don't know if you know, she has track marks all over her arms and legs and stuff. So recently, just seeing that, it's a reminder. It's not that I want to get high, it's just a reminder. So I've thought about it a little more often, but prior to that.
And it makes you think you don't want to do it or
Yeah.
want to do it?
No, I don't want to do it.
Okay, so that just tells you something.
Yeah, it's weird because I never even realized that it wasn't there anymore until I was like talking about it, and I was like, oh my gosh. It wasn't like this magic thing went off and I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to spell anymore. It was just like, I guess,
Just disappeared.
disappeared, yeah. And it's something that was so huge in my life. And then all of a sudden, it just didn't matter anymore. It was gone.
Very cool. They help you change memories too? Bad memories?
Definitely.
And did you check the bad memories and see if they really changed?
Yeah. I don't know why, but I guess I've had a tendency, like, to try and go back to bad memories. I don't know if it's because I'm just used to sitting in how it makes me feel, or a lot of times, like, when you're on point, you're alone here. And I would try to go back to those memories, and they don't bother me anymore. I can still, like, see the memories, you know, but they're different, obviously. But yeah, I don't get that feeling anymore.
So I wonder if you still had your counting and you still had your bad memories, if you left here, what is your likelihood of using again?
If I still have my counting and my bad memories, oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Probably 99.9%.
Yeah. So now that the bad memories aren't bad anymore, and you're not counting, and you're not needing to numb your crazy thoughts, your likelihood of staying clean will be what?
Pretty high. Because I've been to 14 programs, I'm like, it's hard to believe myself. But I see my peers that have gone through so much here, and if they can do it, I can do it.
None of those 14 programs ever change your memories, though. None of those programs ever change your OCD.
Right,
None of those programs ever change how you felt about the drugs. None of them.
right.
Obviously, you got lucky, or you just found the right place to be.
I agree.
Very good. Good job.
I have a better chance at life now.
And there's so many different stories that installs and gets the addiction thing going. So addictions represent dad, mom, fun, family, escape, numb, whatever, the pain.
You understand it well.
There is hope. You're not broken. You're not screwed up. Your brain's just using its only coping skill. We can update those skills and you can have a better quality of life. And not only will the quality of your life be, but your relationships will improve, your health will improve, your finances can improve because you have real control. So do something different. Do something radical. Change the cause of your problem, which is memory. And I can help you do that. Come learn more.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us today. If you're ready to move forward, there are 3 ways to get started. Book a strategy session with me, and we will get you on the path moving forward. Start Robert's 5-day free online course. Understand how change really works. Start doing the work. Or you can work directly with Robert on a one-on-one session to do deep transformational work. So whatever path feels right for you, know that this is lasting change and it's possible and it starts right now. And you'll find all the links in the show notes below. And thank you again for joining us.
Peace.
Peace.